What if I told you? One of the greatest songwriters in history, Sir Paul McCartney, once praised a haunting piece of music, and had no idea Kendrick Lamar wrote it. Yeah, that really happened, in a quiet BBC Radio 2 interview. Paul sat back, eyes closed, and called a track poetry in motion, soul meets scripture. He was mesmerized. But then the host asked, "Do you know who wrote it?" Paul paused, blinked, laughed nervously. "Wait, Kendrick Lamar." "No way, I had no idea." That reaction sent shockwaves through two worlds, rock and hip-hop, because the song Paul fell in love with. It wasn't a hit, it wasn't even public. It was a hidden interlude, never released, never promoted, written by Kendrick under a fake name, and now, that forgotten track is being called Kendrick's greatest secret masterpiece. How did it happen? Why the secrecy? And what does it say when a Beatle calls Kendrick Lamar brilliant, not knowing he's praising a rapper? To understand it, we have to go back to a moment most people missed in late 2020. During the pandemic lockdown, music went underground. Artists across genres began collaborating anonymously. No fame, no credit, just sound. One of those collaborations happened inside a private collective known as the Reverb Society. Their rule was simple: no names, no egos, just truth. Paul McCartney joined through his longtime friend, Rick Rubin. And somewhere in that same circle, K. Duckworth quietly submitted a track, but he didn't rap, he didn't even speak. He let someone else, a British vocalist, whisper his words over piano and ambient strings. The lyrics: "My mama told me silence is a storm too loud for the sky to ignore. I watched my city burn while they sold peace to the privileged. I ain't a king in their eyes, just a poem on trial." The piece was titled, November Psalms. No metadata, no credit, just initials, and weeks later, Paul McCartney heard it. He played it again, and again. Then turned to Rick Rubin and said, "This is like Marvin Gaye, Dylan, and gospel in one breath." He had no idea. The footage of Paul's reaction was never meant to air, but months later, during a Reverb Society documentary preview, the raw clip leaked, and soon after, off camera, someone told Paul the truth. That wasn't a poet. That was Kendrick Lamar. Paul sat still. Then he smiled and said, "Well, I'll be damned. I praised a rapper. And I meant every word." The internet exploded. Paul McCartney unknowingly stands Kendrick. Kendrick ghostwrote a Beatles-style anthem. Drop November Psalms now. But Kendrick, no tweet, no repost, no comment. Why? According to a TDE insider, Kendrick didn't want the moment. He wanted the truth. He wanted to know, do my words still move people? When they don't know it's me. And Paul's tears answered that for him. Whispers say, this isn't the first time Kendrick's ghostwritten under the radar. He's rumored to have penned lyrics for Adele, Frank Ocean, even a Marvel soundtrack. But this was different, because when Paul McCartney unknowingly praised Kendrick Lamar, he proved something deeper, that when you remove labels, genres, and names, the soul still speaks. From Compton to Liverpool, now fans are begging for the full release of November Psalms. And sources say Paul McCartney himself has reached out to Kendrick to co-create a generalist spoken word EP. If that happens, it might be the most unexpected, historic, and sacred collaboration in modern music history. But there's more. A second anonymous submission from the same session, titled To the Quiet Ones, is now rumored to also be Kendrick's. And it's set to release soon. So the question is, will Kendrick finally come forward and reclaim these secret works? Or will he let the world wonder forever? Who really wrote the songs that touched their soul? Just when this quiet storm was settling into internet folklore, a major conflict exploded, and it didn't come from Kendrick. It didn't come from Paul. It came from someone claiming they were the real author behind November Psalms. Out of nowhere, an obscure neo-soul artist from London, named Darius Velum, dropped a now-viral Instagram video, claiming he wrote the track, and that Kendrick stole his soul by submitting it anonymously under K. Duckworth. "I remember writing those lines in 2017 after Grenfell," Darius said in the video. "That pain was mine. That was my story. Kendrick just reworded it, and called it his." The internet instantly split in two. Half of Twitter demanded receipts. The other half started doubting Kendrick's originality. Hashtags like #WhoWroteNovember and #Duckworth drama began trending globally. But here's where it gets insanely messy. Just 24 hours later, a leaked email from a Reverb Society internal moderator surfaced. It contained timestamps, submission records, and the original metadata of November Psalms. Guess what? It proved the file was submitted months before. Darius had even recorded the snippet he posted on Instagram. And it got worse for Darius. A former producer of his came forward, leaking DMs that showed Darius had once praised the track years ago, calling it something I wish I'd written. Boom, case closed. Right, wrong. Because now, Darius flipped the script again, accusing the Reverb Society of covering up for industry plants. And that turned the entire controversy nuclear. He tweeted, "I don't care what the metadata says, I know what I wrote. They're protecting a Grammy winner. I'm just a nobody." Then came the tipping point. Paul McCartney's rep issued a rare public statement. Sir Paul respects all creatives, but he stands by his admiration of the work credited to K. Duckworth, and now Kendrick was backed into a corner. The man, who stayed silent through accolades, through viral clips, through fan praise and memes, was now being forced to decide. Speak up, or let the story spiral out of control. What did he do? He doubled down on silence. No tweet, no post, no interview. Instead, something else surfaced. Something more powerful than words. A handwritten notebook page, supposedly Kendrick's, was leaked by someone close to TDE. It showed an early version of the November Psalms lyrics, scribbled in margins with lines like, "Paul is the echo of revolution before mics existed. Pain in poetry is the currency they can't counterfeit." And at the bottom of the page, "Trust the silence. It sings louder than applause." Fans went wild. This wasn't just about a ghost-written song anymore. This was about artistic ownership, legacy, and whether Kendrick Lamar's genius could exist beyond the hype, the charts, and even his own voice. And then, like a plot twist, scripted by fate, it all cracked open. A YouTube video titled, "Kendrick Lamar's Secret Writing Sessions Exposed Reverb Society." Tape leaks started circulating on Reddit. Inside the video, a distorted voice, allegedly from a Reverb Society tech assistant, plays raw studio audio from the November Psalm session. And guess who's heard whispering background direction? Bring the line about the sky up front. Make it sound like a confession. It was Kendrick. The voice wasn't loud. It wasn't rapping. But to die-hard fans, it was unmistakable. The cadence, the control, the phrasing, it was, within hours. Audio engineers across Twitter confirmed the match. It was Kendrick. He did write it, he did direct it, and he did choose to remain in the shadows until the art spoke loud enough. Now, the backlash flipped to redemption. Darius Velam's account was reported. Paul McCartney reposted the video, this time, tagging Kendrick. And the streaming world took notice. Spotify quietly created a new playlist called Poetry in Motion, featuring only lyrical masterpieces. And guess what track opened it? November Psalms by K. Duckworth. Now, rumors are swirling that Kendrick is planning something massive. Insiders say a full surprise EP of hidden works is being prepped for release under his legal name, not as Kendrick Lamar, but as Kenneth Duckworth. And guess what? One of the features on that project is reportedly none other than Paul McCartney himself. So what started as a quiet appreciation turned into a battle for authorship, a viral controversy, and now, possibly the birth of a genre-bending musical, Rebirth. But just as this drama looked like it was wrapping up, something else leaked. A second song, buried deep in Reverb Society archives, is gaining attention, and it may contain a line about Tupac, a confession, and a verse that might shake Kendrick's entire image to the core. Just when the dust finally seemed to settle, a new storm broke, one that could destroy Kendrick's entire legacy. A mysterious YouTube channel named Duck Confessions uploaded a cryptically titled video. Kendrick's Hidden Truth, the Tupac verse that was never supposed to drop out at first. It didn't even seem related. No clickbait thumbnail, no voiceover, just a black screen and a haunting instrumental. Then it started, raw echoing audio of Kendrick's voice in a scratchy, half-finished verse. It wasn't the usual polished sound. It was intimate, conflicted, and dangerous. Pac told me in a dream, "You too honest for the crown. They gone. Crucify your pen before they lift you off the ground. And if McCartney hear my bars, tell him that I bend sound revolution ain't a Beatles track. It's bloodstains on a gown." Wait, did Kendrick just admit to speaking to Tupac in a dream? Did he just shade Paul McCartney mid-verse? And was this verse connected to another unreleased track? The video was deleted 15 minutes later, but it was already downloaded and spreading like wildfire. Blogs picked it up. Reddit blew up. Some fans hailed it as Kendrick's most honest writing ever. Others felt betrayed because that last line, the one about revolution, was clearly a reference to the Beatles' iconic song, and fans took it as a jab at Paul. Twitter was divided. Kendrick disrespected McCartney. SMH, that man showed him love. Nah, he's speaking truth. The industry don't reward real poets. Paul can take it. Even bigger. Paul's camp broke their silence again, and this time, it wasn't supportive. Sir Paul was surprised and disappointed by the content of the recently surfaced track. He believes that artistic respect should be mutual. Boom, now it wasn't just music, it was a full-blown cultural rift. But guess what? Kendrick still didn't respond. Instead, his official channels began teasing a countdown. A black image. The numbers, 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. And the phrase, "One verse was too honest." Now you'll hear them all. Speculation went wild. Was Kendrick about to drop a confession tape, a project of scrap songs that were too real for release? Then came the second blow. A leaked email from a TDE assistant, posted anonymously on Discord, read, "He's tired of the industry. The mask is cracking. The songs he hid from the label, he's going to leak them himself." And the subject line, "Duckworth Project, full schedule confidential." The document included 7 unreleased tracks, all dated between 2016 and 2020, credited to K. Duckworth. One of them, Crown of Thorns, with a feature labeled PM, Paul McCartney. That's when it hit everyone like a ton of bricks. That Tupac line wasn't shade, it was fear. Kendrick was confessing his struggle. Paul wasn't the enemy. He was the inspiration Kendrick feared he'd never live up to. Music outlets started backtracking. Hot new hip-hop. Did we misread Kendrick's Tupac verse? Complex, Crown of Thorns, Kendrick's rawest work may have just leaked. But one fan theory went viral on TikTok, that Crown of Thorns was actually intended as a collab album between Kendrick and Paul, shelved after creative differences. It blew up millions of views, and thousands of fans demanding to know, where is the full version? Why won't Paul speak again? Did Kendrick sabotage the whole thing? Meanwhile, Spotify added fuel to the fire overnight. They created a new verified artist profile for K. Duckworth and uploaded 2, previously unheard tracks. Echoes of a Crown Father's silence. Both were minimal. Both were lyrically haunting. And both had Paul McCartney listed in the liner notes as a composer. Boom, the entire narrative shifted. This wasn't a diss. This wasn't conflict. It was the sound of two legends struggling to understand each other across generations, genres, and ghosts. And now, with Kendrick silent, Paul confused, and fans divided like never before. Everyone's watching one thing, that countdown. What happens at 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds? A surprise drop, a documentary, a final Kendrick x McCartney track? Or will Kendrick walk away from it all? As the internet spiraled from the leak, social media entered full meltdown mode. But this wasn't just Stan Wars anymore. It had turned into a generational collision of music, ego, and artistic respect. Twitter, unfiltered chaos. Instagram, flooded with fan theories. TikTok, breaking down every bar, pause, and inflection. In the leaked Kendrick verse, Paul loved the lyrics until he found out it was Kendrick. That's wild. This is why black artists go right. The name still changes the reaction. Kendrick was protecting his soul. Now they want to crucify him for telling the truth. Hashtag Crown of Thorns trended for 7 hours straight. Then came the celeb reactions, and that's when things really took off. Eminem tweeted cryptically, "The ghosts write louder than we think. Respect to the ones who tell the truth." Fans immediately took it as a nod to Kendrick. Some even speculated M already knew about the McCartney collab. Questlove jumped in on Instagram Live, saying, "This was never about disrespect. It's about language, poetry." What Paul heard, that was Kendrick's soul, and he felt it before he knew the name. The chat went ballistic. Over 60,000 people tuned in begging Quest to leak the full track. Billie Eilish stitched the leaked verse on TikTok, writing in the caption, "This made me cry. Royest verse I've ever heard." That alone racked up 9 million views in 6 hours. But the biggest twist? Someone came to Kendrick's defense that no one saw coming. Jay-Z, at the Made in America festival, midway through his set, paused the beat, leaned into the mic and said, "Real, recognize real, and fear don't write verses like that." Boom, mic drop. The crowd lost their minds. Blogs went nuclear. Jay-Z co-signs Kendrick Ahmed, Paul McCartney fallout was everywhere. The hip-hop community rallied around Kendrick, but rock fans, not so fast. Liam Gallagher tweeted, "Art's art, but if you've got something to say about a legend, say it with your name, not a leak." And McCartney's team, still cold. No retraction, no forgiveness. Meanwhile, Kendrick's 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds countdown ticked. Closer, just 2 days to go. That's when fans noticed something creepy. The numbers, 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds, didn't just stand for time, they matched the track length of an unreleased file buried in TDE's metadata. Legacy EXE. Duration, 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Artist, unknown. Written by K. Duckworth, P. McCartney. Was this the final track? Was this song going to tell the entire story? TikTok? Creators dissected it like scripture. One creator posted, "This is Kendrick's Jesus moment. The track's not a song, it's a statement." Reddit sleuths found an old photo of Kendrick and Paul hugging backstage at a 2017 benefit concert. The caption, blurred out. "Until now. Sometimes silence is louder than sound." Suddenly, even Paul's silence began to feel deliberate. Was he giving Kendrick room? Was he respecting the art? Or was this all part of something bigger? Music journalists, academics, and fans alike were scrambling to answer. Why would Kendrick hide his identity? What did Paul really feel about Crown of Thorns? And why did this hit so emotionally for everyone? Even Spotify joined in. They added a playlist titled 11 Hours, 11 Minutes, and 11 Seconds, featuring Kendrick, McCartney, Tupac, and Nirvana. No description, just the music. Everyone knew something massive was coming, and all eyes were on that ticking clock. The countdown hit 11 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Millions sat glued to their screens. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Kendrick. Silent no. Post. No notification. Just one phrase blinked into existence on every platform. "You were never supposed to hear this." Then boom. A black screen. A heartbeat sound. And in chilling white letters, Legacy, a film by Kendrick Duckworth and Sir Paul McCartney. Wait, what? Within 60 seconds, the internet erupted. A 19-minute short film, premiered on Kendrick's website, unlisted, everywhere else dark. It wasn't just music. It wasn't just a leak. It was the truth. The film opened with Kendrick, sitting in a dimly lit studio, surrounded by vintage microphones and tape reels. He doesn't rap, he talks. "I wrote Crown of Thorns 5 years ago. I didn't release it because I was scared. Not of Paul, not of backlash. I was scared it was too much of me." The camera pans to handwritten lyrics. Paul McCartney's name appears over and over each time, marked with different notes. "Too polished to rock." Does he get it? Let it be. Then suddenly Paul appears on screen. He's in a quiet room, holding a notepad with Kendrick's lyrics. "When I first read these words, I thought this is Lennon-level writing. But it wasn't about flattery. It was about grief, and faith, and pain. That's not something you edit. That's something you feel." Pause. He sets the notepad down. "I didn't know who wrote it until the track was done. When I found out it was Kendrick, I smiled. Boom. Every rumor, every headline, every theory shattered. Paul was never mad. He was just playing along." Flashback. Footage shows Kendrick and Paul in Abbey Road Studios, nodding to a beat that samples a slowed-down Beatles track. Then the final reveal. Kendrick stares directly into the camera. "Legacy, was never about me. It was about what you leave behind when you're not scared anymore." Fade to black. Camera. "It wasn't leaked by a hacker. It wasn't an accident. I leaked it," Kendrick says, "because the industry doesn't respect what it doesn't control." He smiles. "Now tell me who owns the truth. The legend, or the one living it?" Cue a haunting piano riff. The film ends. No tour announcement. No album drop, just a title card. "Legacy coming soon." Soundtrack by Kendrick Lamar and Paul McCartney. The internet explodes. YouTube comments flood in. "This man tricked the entire industry. This wasn't a leak, it was a trap. I'm crying. This is generational artistry." Twitter becomes a war zone. Kendrick and Paul just made history, didn't ask for permission. The media got played. Genius-level rollout. TikTok creators lose it. Bro. Kendrick used leak culture against itself. "I needed a on this." Now even Netflix tweets, Spotify changes their homepage. Banner 2, Legacy. Tagline, Respect the Pen. And most shocking of all, an unverified SoundCloud account, titled Crown of Thorns F, drops a 17-minute track just minutes later. No artist name, no tags, but the voice, unmistakable. Kendrick rapping, Paul playing piano. Everyone rushes to confirm, but before anyone can, the account is deleted. Now fans are left with questions. Was the entire controversy staged? Will Legacy be a full album, a movie, or both? Why did Kendrick do all this now? And what else are they hiding? Because Kendrick left the world with one final line in the film. I buried a verse no one's heard. If you really listen, you'll find it. And that's where we leave it. Kendrick Lamar didn't just make headlines, he made history. And he made sure everyone would remember his name. What did we just witness? A leak that wasn't a leak. A verse that changed the internet. And a legend who co-signed it all. In silence, if you made it this far, let's get one thing straight. This isn't just music, this is storytelling on another level. Kendrick Lamar just played chess, while the world was playing checkers. And Paul McCartney, he knew exactly what he was doing. Now here's where you come in. Drop a comment right now and tell us, did Kendrick go too far? Or was this pure genius? Do you believe the Legacy project is going to change hip-hop forever? Was this a shot at the industry, or a love letter to real art? We're reading every single comment on Trust Me. We've got more coming. Like this video if you believe Kendrick is the real GOAT. Hit subscribe if you're ready for the next bombshell. Because this drama, it's just getting started. Sources are already teasing new unreleased tracks potential tour footage, behind-the-scenes clips from Abbey Road no one has seen yet, and yes, there's still that one hidden verse Kendrick said he buried. So what are you waiting for? This is your front row seat to hip-hop history. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next twist. And remember, you were never supposed to hear this. But now that you have, you can't unhear it. Stay locked in. Drama never sleeps.